Arindam, hi. Sucharita here.
Hi. Sorry, I've joined from my phone
Okay.
because for some reason the laptop it's not working. Yeah.
Hi,
Hi,
I'm
Dr.
Krishna.
Priyanka.
Hello, hi
Uh,
everyone.
Hi.
hello, Dr. Priyanka. Hello.
Hi Sucharita, hi Krishna.
Hi, Mr. Krishna. Hi.
Hello. I think the light is
Hello,
not.
everyone. Shall we start?
Yes,
Just
sure.
give me a moment.
Yes.
Let me do the light is bad. I guess we'll have to live with it.
Yeah, I think it's better now, Krish.
I know now. Yeah, we'll have to live with this.
The
Or
light is still.
bad, no? Let me move to another location. Hold on. Feels better?
Oh, much better.
Put it on the bed. Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, this is better.
All
So,
right.
shall we start?
Yes, we can.
Yes.
Yeah. Thank you, everyone. Thank you, Sucharita. Thank you, Ms. Krishna Gopal. Thank you, Major Pinto. Major Pinto has joined.
I don't think she has joined.
Okay, I think she said that she might be a little delayed. And thank you, Professor Sharma, Priyanka Sharma, for joining on this webinar. First, I would like to welcome our viewers over here for the Be Smart webinar. And our topic today is a really hot button issue. It is pretty much being discussed and debated across the world and in India as well. Jobs. Where are the jobs? What are the jobs? And how do we tackle different challenges like attrition, job cuts, layoffs, AI, technology, the economy, and everything? So jobs on top of our mind. So thank you, panelists, for joining on this call, on this webinar, for this extremely relevant and topical issue on jobs. So if we quickly go and introduce, I would like to introduce first Mrs. Sucharita De. Mrs. De comes with huge experience of recruiting. I mean, today we actually have a panel of very high-profile HR personalities across the country. Mrs. Sucharita De has been an HR person. She has been the chief manager with ICICI Prudential, and now she is the chief manager with Novo Nordisk. From volume recruitment to very focused and niche recruitment, that's, I would say, quite a journey. So you have a lot of insights to give us on how to tackle and what kind of recruitment you are seeing in India.
Right.
We move on to Mrs. Priyanka Sharma. She is the Student Affairs and Chairperson of Placement at IIM Lucknow. She comes with a lot of experience as well, interacting with the students as well as the recruiters with the corporate world who are coming into campuses for placements. Thank you, Mrs. Sharma, for making time to come over and join this webinar. We also have Mr. Krishna Gopal. He was just a month before, till April, he was the global placement, global sales head for Tech Mahindra. And now he is a coach and a mentor for students. Is very apt in the sense that he brings in a lot of experience and a lot of insight into coaching students to gear up for the future of job opportunities. So thank you, Mr. Krishna Gopal, for coming in. We also have with us in the panel Major Pratima Pinto. She might be a little delayed in joining us, but she comes from the fintech world. She is the head of HR for Fino Payments Bank. The fintech world where banking and fintech, which is one of our key recruiters in the country, and fintech has been one of the fledgling sectors in this country. So thank you very much, all the panelists, for coming and joining us over here in this webinar. So very quickly, if we start with setting the context, jobs has always been a very key element in the economy of a country, even in politics. Okay, and jobs for the last 1 year has been the top focus, because we have had a lot of mayhem outside, globally and in India, with a lot of attrition, a lot of layoffs happening. In the very recent was even one of the leading job portals in India. It's a global job portal, Indeed, which announced over 1,000 layoffs. We have had Google laying off people. We have had Microsoft laying off people. We have just had Infosys, one of our top recruiters in the country, announcing that they would not come to the campuses for placement because they have a surplus bench strength. So placing students who are coming out as fresh graduates has been a challenge. We have had existing jobs going away. In fact, globally, US has lost almost 70% of its jobs. And believe me not, India comes second. According to the latest data, India has lost about 16% of its jobs. So that's the data. And that's the context on which we will going to have this evening's discussion on what is happening out there and what is the way forward. And for talent, how do we gear up for the challenges and for the new age of recruitment of jobs? So if I can quickly go over to Mr. Krishna Gopal.
Yeah.
Mr. Gopal, you have been in the tech industry, which has been one of our primary recruiters in the country. And now you are a mentor and coach. So what is happening? Past 1 year, you can see that there has been a lot of issues with jobs. That is on the one hand. On the other hand, you're seeing AI threatening and saying that, it'll pretty much wipe out all the jobs. At least that's what it is threatening to. But there are also positives saying that there will be a lot of jobs created as well. So if you can just give us a broad view of what's going on out there, and then probably get on to the point of what is the way forward? How do we see, things changing or improving? And in today's context, one more small relevant point is June 4th, when the elections results are out, do you see things changing?
Okay. I hope I'm audible.
Yes, sir.
I think in the IT industry has had its great privilege of having unprecedented, relentless growth for years, right? So I used to always joke about large IT firms saying that they had signboards outside that said that trespassers will be hired. It was that kind of a thing for a couple of decades, 2 decades and 2.5 decades and all that. And then the blips started, right? Now, the first blip that the IT industry anticipated was during Corona, saying that, hey, now everybody will stop business. But on the contrary, business boomed. It went through the roof because cloudification started in a big way. Digitization started in a big way, unanticipated. So during the Corona time, revenues really boomed. All IT companies reported good results. Now, what has happened is that One is, of course, the global issues of tensions everywhere, right? Whether it is in Ukraine, whether it is now in Gaza, or whether it is with respect to China, etc. And China beginning to dip. So global issues have been there now. Money has become tight. So companies have started to throttle back, right? The GEs of the world, the Fords of the world, everybody is starting to throttle back. Discretionary large projects are now on hold. It is all about keeping the lights on, right? So what I'm trying to tell you is that we had a boom. Let's thank ourselves about that. Let's not get used to it. We expected something that was, a bad during pandemic. It didn't happen. Still went up. But now, I think the whole business falling in through the door, relentless growth, business happening not because of us, in spite of us, right? That those days are over now. Let's first get on to that. That's one side of it. Other side of it is that from MBA school's point of view, or even IT engineering point of view, I think I've seen a mushrooming of these colleges, these seats, and all that. Let us take an Indian School of Business itself, 700 or 800 seats, right? It's anyway going to be now hard to get equal quality placement for everybody, right? That's going to be a given now. So my view is that we have to now get used to the fact that companies will optimize the pyramid. Yes, there will be opportunities for people from below, but jobs in general from the campuses, it will not be the same, boom like before, right? Send me 3 truckloads of Java. No, it's not going to be like that. People will be choosy. Like, the housewives will go and, the way they buy bindi, they will break the bindi 3 times and then buy it not like this, right? So that's going to happen. People are going to become choosy. As far as Indian elections are concerned, I think in terms of impacting startups or in terms of impacting some other industries like defense or like infrastructure or hospitality and tourism, I don't see an impact in IT, right? Because that has a bearing on the US, that has a bearing on Europe, and US results, stopping the war in Europe, etc., may have a impact. Now, if you look at the results that are coming from the various top IT companies, they are guarded. They're saying that things are beginning to look up, but till they get that aha signals, hiring is not going to happen, right? Hiring happens in anticipation, not because when the business comes and then they, hire people. No, they hire in anticipation, especially freshers. Okay. So if they don't see those signals, then they will not hire in anticipation. And what has also happened is because of which you mentioned AI and all of that, many tools, automation, etc. There is immense pressure on middle management, right? People have grown up through the ranks, not 20 years experience, but 3 years experience repeated 7 times, 21. Right? Those kinds of people are now under the scanner. They've become high cost. So they are going. Hello? We lost you. Okay, fair. So I'll keep continuing. So those people have become high cost, and using tools like AI and using automation, etc. Similar such middle level jobs can probably be done by younger people. So to that extent, the silver lining is smart young people, well skilled and trained, still have opportunity. Mass, there could still be a problem. I'll pause here.
I think we should wait for Mr. Arindam to come back.
While he comes back, why don't you, from IIM Lucknow, I forget your name. Why
Priyanka
don't
Sharma.
yeah, Priyanka Sharma, why don't you pitch in with your views on this, since I mentioned about,
Sure.
Campus.
proliferation of institutes and so many and so on and so forth. What's your view?
No, Krishna, I think what you have mentioned is also something we also experienced this time. More than ever, the last year was a very, very challenging time for us, for the placement committee as well, to place. We are a batch of about 570 students, so we're talking about the numbers as well. The the point is that everywhere, and it's a industry agnostic phenomena, which I would say I have experienced. As far as the recruiters are concerned, it's not just about IT per se, but almost all the industries are equally affected.
Welcome back, Arindam. I stepped in
Hi,
on your
Arindam.
behalf.
Yes.
I
Thank you,
stepped in
Mr.
on your
Krishna Gopal.
behalf,
I
and
could hear all of you.
yeah.
Okay.
It was
Let's
just
not
that I
interrupt
was
you.
not
Go ahead.
comfortable with
Go
it.
ahead.
Yeah,
Go
so
ahead.
you want me to continue, or we
Yes,
can
yes,
Yeah,
wait for
yes,
please.
you
yes,
to?
yes. Please continue.
Okay, fair enough. So I'm just taking it further from Mr. Krishna Gopal. Couple of things, we find that it's a very, very dynamic nature of the job market. And the companies are also very demanding in terms of the kind of skill sets, in terms of the kind of quality or the kind of JD, I would say, that they send to us. Um, there is a whole lot of technological advancements which are happening, which are shaping up this dynamism. There are economic fluctuations and global shifts. So, as a placement cell, or if I have to say as a placement chair, if I have to remain proactive, we have to constantly monitor these changes. And as you said, because the burden is increasing, so we also do industry research, we engage with recruiters, and we seek feedback, very importantly, from our alumni. Because they are placed in decent company, they are at who's who in different companies, and I feel that at this trying times, they are one of the very strong pillars for us. So the need of the hour for any B school is to remain aware of the market trends, ensure that the students are equipped with some of the most pertinent skills and knowledge, which is essential for success in their respective careers. So that is what we read, or we anticipate as the changing landscape. And we are doing a lot of measures to support the recruiters, and also which is in the interest of the B schools like ours. We are also rightly, like last year, we tried a lot of things, and we came up with a much more robust, comprehensive strategy, which we feel is going to stay for a pretty long time. So one, what we did, we had to update our curriculum. Because without that, the kind of questions which are being asked, and we actually found, so when we are going for summer internship at the first, so that is the first checkpoint which we face, and which helps us to actually calibrate ourselves for the final placements.
Right.
So that helped us to curate courses, that helped us to change our curriculum and to introduce certain things which are needed. For example, Arindam and Krishna ji were also talking about like AI, like analytics. No? So we had to curate and change our existing courses to add those elements in the courses.
Right.
So we have courses on AI, analytics, we have courses on digital marketing, we have courses starting from very basics of the mathematics, statistics, probability, which goes behind some of these models and predictive analysis. Moving on to the application and the business side, that how do you make sense of it if a manager has to make the decision. So that is one thing that we jointly took a call at the management level. Second thing was, we actually prioritized, or I would say, now this is again something that all the colleges need to gear up to, is experiential learning, whether it is through industry projects, case competitions, or guest lectures from the potential recruiters, from legacy recruiters. And this is very much important because they can come and tell us what is going on currently in the market. They can imbibe, I mean, the students can then imbibe, learn, and build on those discussion points which they come and take the lecture on. case competition. In fact, very nicely, a lot of companies actually are in them. They took students based on their performance in these case competitions. So like the national winners and the state winners. So because they are seeing their performance across different sets of presentations and all. So that became a very nice way to judge the capability of the students and for students also to learn about that industry and company and the market and things like that. So these were the two things that we actually took a very serious thought about and we brought some
Maybe,
changes.
yeah, maybe Dr. Priyanka, if I can intervene here,
Yes,
as
please,
as
please.
you were talking about,
But very quickly,
sure,
Sucharita,
sure,
just a small intervention over here.
sure.
Just a second. We have Major Pratima Pinto who has joined us as well. We would like to welcome her. Uh, uh, Major Pinto, thank
Thank
you
you
so
so
much
much.
thank you so much for making time. I would just quickly, since you were not there, I would just quickly lay the context over here. We are talking about jobs, which is the most hot button issue today. And for the past 1 year, the way we have been seeing, there have been umpteen number of layoffs. There has been an attrition. Jobs are very scarce. There are not adequate kind of jobs happening. We have gig workers saying that, they would like to go back into comfort and more stable work. So all kind of mayhem and bloodbath happening out there. Okay, and as Professor Priyanka Sharma also said just now, that placement has been a challenge, and therefore they had to do a lot of rejig in curriculum and all. And before that, we had our esteemed panelist, Mr. Krishna Gopal, talking about how the nature of jobs is changing. From an IT perspective, he was saying that gone are the days of like truckloads of people coming in and they being hired. Okay, it's much more nuanced, much more focused, more so that is where we are. So we will go back to Sucharita. She was saying something. Sorry, Sucharita, and
No,
now
no, that's fine, that's
Thank
fine.
you so much.
Welcome. Um,
Thanks, Sucharita. I'm sorry. Yeah.
Okay, so as Dr. Priyanka was talking about experiential learning, so last year I could visit couple of IIM campuses, not ABCL, but I would not like to name them. One of the things which we actually were focusing on the social skill, which is very, very important because when they come, they have to collaborate with different departments and, make things done. Some of the places we found that like that particular skill set was missing, so which is not given that importance. While we know that somebody has to be competent digitally, but at the end of the day, like you have to be a team player, which is extremely extremely plays an important kind of a competency
right,
or behavior,
right,
which I think we noticed. And you exactly told that experiential learning becomes a very, very important thing, and hence we need to push students to work at a grassroots level rather than working from 10,000 feet height. So that is one thing which I actually had an experience in last year campus recruitment.
absolutely, great. Thank you, Sucharita. We'll come back to you again. Okay, we'll go back to Mrs. Major Pratima Pinto. Uh, uh, Major Pinto, being from the banking sector, fintech and banking, two kind of very critical areas in India, at least. Fintech, which has been growing, banking is another key area, and where we have a fair amount of recruitments and jobs happening. What has been your experience for the past 1 year? Like, how have you seen jobs kind of slowing down or growing on the one hand, and the other hand, how technology is, what kind of technology interventions we are seeing over here, which is kind of putting either jobs at stake or talent, sort of unable or able to gear up. So if you can tell us a little.
Sure. So I'll just take a step back from not just 1 year, but uh, probably a year or two, even further down memory lane, where post-COVID, there was a lot of hiring across the sectors, especially in the tech sector, the fintech sector, a lot of startups, a lot of this thing hiring to a great extent. Now, what has happened since then? Obviously, everyone has been asking for value from the businesses, value from organizations, value from teams, value from individuals. And believe me, I would say, I would disagree to say that there are no jobs or there are no this thing. There is a right job for the right kind of people, for the right, if you're at the right place with the right skill set at the right time. What we have been looking at in the last 1 year, and we were very cautious even during the hirings, even post COVID. We said we will not go rampant hiring. Recruit people for the skill that they are good at, for the skill and the value that they would bring to the table. And it was very, very specific hiring. And hence, in the last 6 months or 1 year, and in the next 6 months and in the next 1 year, what we are looking at is consolidating. We are looking at optimization. We are looking at efficiencies. And that is the trend that we are visualizing, what we are seeing across the sector. Everybody has hired to the helm, to the hilt, and now they're looking at consolidating. Now they're looking at efficiency building. They're looking at cost optimization. That's the trend. And I believe a lot of study have happened in the first quarter of this year, FY24. If you pick up any of the talent surveys, this trend has come out, and the future speculation is that there will be consolidation. So it's not about losing jobs. The right people will always have the right jobs at the right place, if they're at the right place and at the right time. And I exactly point out the very same thing which Ms. Sucharita just mentioned, especially with the younger lot across business schools, etc. And I'll probably add in a little bit out there. In the last few years, the business schools have focused, or rather are seen to be focusing on startups, startup ideas, which is a good thing in a way. However, not many schools have invested in the social skills that they need to build in the students, the resilience that they need to build in the students to probably learn ground up. And, every youngster whom you meet nowadays wants to, which is a very good thing. It is something to aspire for. However, that is, you want to have your own startup. You want to, have a good idea. However, to make these things work, you need to have those kind of social skills. You need to have that kind of develop the business acumen, develop the acumen to lead people, to take them together, etc. So all these skills are something that we are seeing the institutions should be, and we have had interactions with many institutions, with the academic, the faculties, that these are the skills we are looking at. And they need to, while we need the creativity, innovation, we need all of that coming in from our youngsters. In fact, we hire youngsters for that itself. However, if they do not know, or if they do not have the resilience to work in a team, to stick on to, some time patiently, that is, we are in the Insta world, we know, but there is a tendency for, students or the trainees or interns that want it now and, immediate, which does not happen because organizations are probably at a certain stage where they may not be able to probably go with your idea, because there are many factors when you work in a larger team, in a larger organization. There are many factors that could need your ideas going in. So you need to have that resilience to stick in with your ideas, and a lot of that. So I would yet say banking industry as such is hiring, not so much maybe the fintech industry, but banking is yet hiring. There is a lot of what you say, talent which is required. But I say once again, the right people at the right place at the right time are what we need and what we require. We are ready to upskill. We are ready for connections with relationships with institutes, ready to build it, ready to build students there. But yes, we need to have the students need to have patience and the resilience to stick on with the industry.
Okay. Okay. Great. So, there are a few elements that are coming out from what Mrs. Sucharita they said, what Major Pinto has said. So, to quickly go back to Mr. Krishna Gopal, Mr. Gopal, what we're kind of hearing over here from all the panelists and you, of course, that it's not so much about the technology or AI threatening the jobs. It's more about, how that person sort of grooms up, becomes a team player, has resilience, knows how to stay on, have the patience. So it's more about the personality, interpersonal skills, how to approach a certain problem, and all these things. So as a coach and a mentor, how do you see, because there are no jobs, are kind of shrinking, and as you rightly said that, there won't be truckloads of jobs now. It will be much more focused, much more nuanced. So how do you see mitigating these issues? We can keep aside AI for the time being, probably.
Yeah, I think Major Pratima mentioned something about resilience and all of that. And Priyanka, I think for IIM, she mentioned what is it called? Experiential learning and all that. You see, let us step back. See, I've gone to several of the colleges, right, to do campus hiring. And, we go 3-4 people, and then a bunch of psychometric reports will come. You don't have time to read. And then somebody walks in, it'll be probably a hostel room. You are sitting on the bed. There's a table, and the other guy's on the other side. And you start with this stupid question: "Tell me something about yourself." Right? You look at that scenario, right? At the end of the day, when the interview is over, and then we let you know, and then you talk amongst the other two people, and then the other guy says that, "यार इसको लेना चाहिए." अरे, he doesn't know SAP. No, मैं इसको सिखा दूंगा SAP. So what comes out there is attitude, right? I like his attitude. He has learnability. He or she has can do. Obviously, he or she has come through the ranks, and therefore, she's good. If she has come to Ahmedabad or Lucknow, wherever it is, basics are there. Forget the psychometrics. I think let's pick now. How do we build these qualities? That's
Right.
the big problem, right? How do we build can do? How do we build entrepreneurship? How do we build empathy, right? In 2 years, right? In the case of engineering school, in 4 years. Somebody, I think Pratima talked about collaboration. I think, or sorry, the other lady talked about collaboration, right?
Yes. One of the panelists, yes.
All your life, you have done only competition.
Yes.
First mein aane ka hai, second aane ka hai, ye competitive exam. And suddenly, overnight, you have to start
talking about collaboration. Right.
Not going to happen easily, right? So I think if, somebody talked about, Priyanka Sharma talked about changing the syllabus or tweaking it, experiential learning, this is what we need to bring in. And I think you need to bring in faculty who may not necessarily be PhDs, but people who will be able to inspire students to want to change, to want to become that set of people who will be dependable. You have seen this Obama's video that talks about, short video that says, what? Learn to get things done.
Right.
Be known for somebody who gets things done.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Then jobs will come to you. And what is that getting things done is so many things, right? Accountability, so many things are there in that.
Right, yes.
Right? So I guess we need to build those skills, great, through experiential learning. through having mentors infused into campuses who can inspire people to build those qualities. AI will come, SAP will come, automation will come,
Yes.
return on investment and IRR and all will come, right? And by the way, I mean, I was at an Airbnb in Bangalore, a very recent, a place called Nelmangala, and that guy has a 5-acre property. And I got talking to him. He's sold 2-3 companies. He says the current education is irrelevant because I can ask the computer and AI and can tell me everything. I have to learn different things now. Right? So very powerful. Seemed very simplistic, but very powerful. I think this is probably what we may want to look at, relook at the curriculum, maybe experiment in a few places. Now, Dr. Pratima, Major Pratima, you talked about, students should do this, that. We are probably little there, right? ABCL, maybe all IIMs, etc. I was in Coimbatore recently. I met students at a college who don't want to leave that particular Pollachi of, in Coimbatore. They want to be there. They don't want to, move on. Ambition is not there. Now, is that good or bad? It's a different debate, right? Maybe it's good. Maybe they want to stay there, and is going to a city the only thing in the progress in life? I don't know, right? But if you really have this yardstick of jobs, there are a set of colleges, set of people, or for that matter, I went to a college and, I won't name the college. I spoke to the boys and girls for about half an hour. Then I said, should I talk in English or should I start talking in Tamil? Everybody put up their hands and said, Tamil, Tamil, Tamil. Now, and my Tamil is not good enough, right, without English. So, I think we have very large spectrum, very large problem that we have across colleges, mushrooming of institutes, so many places. So, horses for courses, I guess that's what I would leave the discussion at. And back to you, sir.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you so much. So very quickly, I will go to Sucharita. Sucharita, in between, we sort of missed asking one pertinent question, because you come with this experience of, as I, during the introduction, as I mentioned, that there's a lot of bulk recruitment that you have done in your life, and now you're into focused recruitment. Can you give us some insights into, how it was to recruit in large numbers? And there has been a lot of impact as well. Okay. And all the things that have, okay. And in bulk recruitment, I think collaboration, teamwork is of prime importance, because you have a lot of people coming together in one room, right? So how has it been? How has been your experience over here? What are the insights that you can share with us on this? Vis-a-vis, today, when you look at the focused, highly skilled, highly technical, where you think that is the right relevant skill, married with all the life skills that is being talked about, right? The empathy come in, how difficult or how challenging, or is it there kind of, is the talent readily available?
Right. I think, thank you, Mr. Arindam. In fact, I wanted to talk about what Mr. Krishna Gopal said, people don't want to move out of Pollachi. And that is one of the things when we used to go to campus. In my earlier role, we used to go to campus majorly because we believe in, building talent rather than buying talent. And that's how we used to focus on campuses. And that is one thing which we used to always tell them, that 3 things which you cannot choose. One is like your manager, you cannot choose your location, and you cannot choose your salary. If you're okay with all these 3 things, then we would invite you to apply for this particular role, and look forward to it. So that was one of the pitch which we used to actually talk mostly in all our campuses. And in bulk hiring, it was so we again had tiering of institutes, because in insurance sector and banking sector, if you see that there are different kinds of roles. For a frontline role, we would like to go to non-tiered colleges, so where we used to majorly see that if a person is having an attitude, is he willing to go out and do the sales job? If he's not willing to go out and do the sales job, then he's not the right candidate for us. So we had couple of, competencies, like we had a couple of, particular framework on which we used to, assess whether the person is willing to do this. I think the major thing was attitude, because the rest of the things we used to say that we will, train them, because that was the, like, biggest success factor while, recruiting, major bulk hiring when we used to do. Coming to focused hiring, we also had in certain functions we cannot do bulk hiring, in my previous role, and in the current role also I see that, we have mostly, like, focused hiring. And that's where we do talent mapping, we do skill mapping, and we see that, what are the skill sets we require for this particular job. We also, like, do something like where we take people in internships for a year or 3 months or 4 months, and we assess them over the period of time. And if we see that the person is okay with the competency and with the behavior, then we hire them and we give them a pre-placement offer also. So that is how the shift, I have been I saw in last 1 year, like being there for last 20 years into bulk recruitment, and then suddenly moving into a place where it's like more of a focused and niche hiring.
Right, right. Okay, okay. So, uh, I would go to Mrs. Priyanka Sharma. Professor Sharma, you've been hearing the panelists, right? As they talk about, the typical life skills kind of attitude. You should have empathy. You should have, apart from the skills, there should be the patience. There should be that kind of framework and the frame of mind that you should have among the talented one.
Yeah.
You have been dealing with these students every day on the campuses. Uh, what has been your experience? I mean, do you see, people who are coming in for jobs or who are coming in to graduate and then move on to jobs and whatever? Uh, do they come with that kind of a thing, or they have something up their mind that, as Mr. Krishna Gopal said, that it's all about competition, competition. Typically IIMs and IITs, it's all about the rat race, right? So where is the scope for collaboration? So isn't there a kind of a contradiction happening over here?
No, I will add to that
Yeah.
question,
Okay.
Yes.
Dr. Priyanka. Actually, when you make a list, empathy, resilience, collaboration, blah, 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 all of that actually adds up to the person being a good human being.
Right.
Right. So are you hiring somebody as a good human being or into your college or not? That's a question. So
Or
any
yeah.
Yeah. So, Arindam, first of all, I totally agree with what Krishna, Major Pratibha, and Sucharita has mentioned. Also, because say I come from marketing, so I'm a faculty in the marketing area, and marketing you can't think of without being in the field, understanding the consumers, and when I teach design thinking, so there is a very important word and a pillar of it called as empathy.
Right.
So I totally understand, but I also would like to say that we have a whole spectrum, Arindam, in this. So there are students who are coming from, say, they have 1 to 2 years or 3 years of work ex in the industry. They have seen some of those things, what happened at the corporate level. They are more mature in handling their emotions, in handling their work, how to deal with peers, and so on and so forth. And there are some people who are for the very first time coming out of their house and the town, actually.
Mm-hmm.
So they have till the graduation, they have done being at their home. They are more pampered. So when they come out to a peaceful like Lucknow, they are at times confused how to deal with this rigorous curriculum, then CV making. Oh, company is coming tomorrow. Have to submit. I have to. Oh, CaseCom. Suddenly, some CaseCom announcement has happened. So I would say there is a whole spectrum. There are people who are more mature. There are people who need to be handled like very small kids and babies, and you need to really nurture them. Then again, because I am also a student affairs chairperson, I often find that the mental strength is also very different from one person to another person. For example, when we saw that some students who were not getting shortlisted by some of the very good companies, some of them, they were still very strong and they were like, ma'am, ho jayega. We will ensure we do something. And then there were students who were breaking down. So you need to have different mechanisms for this. However, one thing which we are very much focusing on is a very important percentage of our evaluation is on group activities rather than the individual activities. Because what we honestly believe, as what Sucharita, Pratima, and Krishna has mentioned, that you don't work alone in a company, right? You may have a boss, you may have a subordinate, you may have a big team, and sometimes remote teams as well. So how do you deal with people? So they don't make groups, we make the groups. As Sucharita was saying, that you don't get to choose your boss or your location. So we create groups and we give them activities to do in those groups. It may so happen that nobody listens to you, right? So I am in a group with 7 other members and there are 6 people who don't listen to me. Now it's your responsibility to learn how to deal with those situations. Always, we are there to mentor them, we are there to help them out. But I think these group evaluations are a very, very important part of it. Secondly, we have courses where we take them to rural immersion. They get to see what is Bharat. So it's not always about sitting in an AC room. So I always laugh at it when I tell to my students. So I did BTech in chemical engineering and I did internship in one fertilizer company. I don't want to name that. And when I went there, it was so difficult. I said, I can't do that. So I chose, okay, I'll go to Infosys. And that's how my career started. So they also need to know where the real India resides. Now, every company is looking at the rural and semi-urban and those kind of areas for their businesses. Even some of the big international giants are also looking at that. Then, Arindam, we also have a course where we take them to trekking and Himalayan expedition. So again, that's a different type of difficulty where you don't have a campus or a pampered environment. The students are there, they go camping, they do trekking, they deal with their emotions, health, support each other, and so on and so forth. So I think it's important that rather than having the traditional classroom teaching, we let them go free with some of these innovative ideas where they can interact with self as well as connect with rest of the peers over there. And one of the very important part over there is, I must say, the role which is played by the clubs and committees that we have created over here.
Okay.
Now, when I say the clubs and committees, I'm not talking about the consulting club and, some of these IT clubs and all. I'm talking about clubs, for example, you have a club with respect to the tourism enthusiasts, the travel enthusiasts. We have a club with some of the hobby clubs like art and music and dance and photography. I think that also makes you a better human being. You are able to see things in more totality. You are able to see things from a different view altogether. So these are some of the initiatives that we do. And one more thing I would like to mention this, and this is something unique of Lucknow. We have a lot of student ventures. So I can name them Booker and, for example, Hellmark and Gossip and Bite. So these are food ventures. Now, when you are running a food venture, a student has to understand that customers and community really well.
Right.
Kya bikega? I mean, you have to think from that point of view. So they manage the supply chain, they manage the marketing, they manage, and you need to be a good person. Otherwise, people will not come to your venture. Right? We have mess, we have so many different options like any other city. So these are some of the things which help students. And therefore, I always say, please take part in such activities. You are not supposed to stay in your classroom and hostel room. Go out. Go out. And sports. I'm a big fan and supporter of sports, especially those sports which are played as a team,
Right.
like cricket, football, kabaddi, kho. You just let loose yourself, just go out. And it's not about winning and losing. It's all about a sportsmanship, a team spirit. That is very, very important. So I rest my case. I think Sucharita had something to add there.
Yeah.
Sure. Go ahead,
I just
Suchit.
want to quickly add what Dr. Priyanka was talking about. In fact, in the previous organization, we had something called Business Leadership Program. I will say that, it is a joint ownership of the campus and the organization which is recruiting people. So BLP is a program where we used to take people from tier one institute and we used to put them for a 2 years training where they have to understand customers. So basically, we used to send them for a sales role. So unless and until they understand how does a customer look like, what happens in the sales process, you cannot make some fancy presentation in a boardroom. And that is what we have set the expectation, and we have seen lovely results. In fact, we have seen how people actually have transformed. So initially when they come, they like, I don't think I can do this. But then when they started going, meeting customers, meeting stakeholders, partners, then they realized that, and when they were making strategy after 2 years, they could connect that, point A to point B. And previously when we used to hire people, we used to put them directly into strategy role, directly into product marketing. We saw that, they were not able to understand the ground reality, and they just started making fancy presentation, which, the business never used to accept. So that is the transformation which we saw. And I strongly believe that it's a joint ownership of the campus and the corporate. We cannot, like say that, campus is not doing, and now, so that is one thing which I wanted to highlight.
I think, Sucharita, this is where collaboration, the
Yeah.
word we were discussing
Yeah.
about,
The collaboration of the campus and the corporate,
and the
as well as
recruiters,
the
I think.
students. Yes.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
Right. Yeah. No, good. I mean, we sort of, from the conversations that we're having over here, it comes out that we are actually talking less of technology and more about, the talent and the skills, and, how you can actually. So it is my belief kind of reinforce that AI really cannot replace the jobs and, the talent that we have, the human talent. Rather, they complement, kind of, and maybe make better human beings, as Mr. Krishna Gopal said, that you have to have a very good human being to be in the right kind of job. So going to Major Pratima Pinto, so, banking and finance, it's a very, very dry kind of area where, it's only talking about money and money and money. Do you think there is really place for this good human being and human beings kind of, the real talent, rather than knowing the Excel sheets and the calculations and mathematics?
And I have to tell you, I am going to ask you to take back this thing that banking and fintech or finance are very boring
I just wanted to
roles
instigate a
and the
little
things
bit.
that we follow.
No,
You have to take
obviously
that
not. I
statement
fully
back.
agree with
Believe
you. No,
me,
banking has a lot of
you
human
have to
touch
be.
into it. Yes.
Yes. No, not only human, the kind of innovation, the kind of creativity, the kind of empathy. I am in an organization, we are Fino Payments Bank, and we stand
Yes.
for financial inclusion.
Yeah.
And believe me, inclusion couldn't have started without the empathy that my 3,000 people in the field areas have for, the customers there. We are in the tier 4, tier 5, tier 6 villages, towns of India, almost in 99%, I would say 100% as we speak, 100% districts of India have our presence there. And I don't think it's a monotonous, it's a what you call boring organization to be in at all. In fact, it's the happening place to be in, the kind of connect we have with our merchants, with our customers, our products team. Typically, I would like to just pull back again into the prior conversation that we were having, whether AI is going to change things or not. Believe me, like what we have all said, put all out together, AI is not going to replace any jobs. It's only changing the nature of the jobs in our sector specifically. It's only changing the nature. Believe me, if in case you are going to not grow out of your job yourself, then AI will replace you, or for that matter, someone else will replace you, which means you have to keep upskilling, you have to keep developing your skills and learn the different nuances around it so that nobody else, leave aside AI, is going to replace you. You have to be relevant, you have to be there in for that role, connecting with everyone. Going back to again the banking industry per se, or the kind of roles that are coming up in the industry, I would want to even probably cite a experience. I had gone to a college. It was not a very big college. I'll not name it, but probably a tier 3, tier 4 institute. And I was just interacting with the students there. And what I got to hear was, banking role. Oh, do we have to go to the field to do sales? Or loans. I had to actually put out to them, and I actually drew the flowchart of probably the various departments, the various roles in the banking sector, the various opportunities that many students, many institutions do not talk about at all. Right from compliance, risk, monitoring, the central operations, the what more. It's a whole gamut of things out there, and very attractive, very interesting areas that one can get into. And by the day, as the environment is getting more what you say complex, but more tech oriented, there are a lot of regulatory requirements coming on board. So you have a lot of monitoring. Maybe earlier a role could have been manually, probably, if I take a typical scene of a bank, which probably an institution is thinking of. It's a bank branch, basically, where there is a cash counter, where there is probably a branch manager sitting, and then there is a loans counter, there is something else, deposits counter, and an ATM beside it, etc. Somebody, that's a typical branch scene. But believe me, it's changing. We barely have some minuscule number of branches, in 2 digits. But we have lakhs and lakhs of customers all across. Why? Because we are digital. So the entire role of approaching our customers is through digital. We are looking for talent with digital skills, social skills. When it comes to marketing, it's not the traditional marketing only. We believe in phygital, so it's that traditional marketing, but then we need to have the analytical, the social, the multimedia skills coming in. When we're looking at HR, while we are looking at all the traditional skill sets in HR, we are looking at even people who are tech savvy, who are very who would be able to work with the analytics team to deliver on the required analytics for the HR function. Typically, for the product and innovation, we are looking at design thinking students. We are looking at, so it's a whole plethora of opportunities. Unfortunately, some colleges are not able to decipher that, and probably that is where the responsibility also lies with us as industry, to come back, and we attempt to do that in some way or the other, where we try to visit. Whenever we visit institutions, we do give our feedback of the kind of sectors, the kind of roles. They are not the traditional boring roles, as one may call it, in the banking sector. Right. It's beautiful, it's very innovative, creative, And there's lots to do there, lots of innovative things to do there.
Yes. Particularly technology, there has been a lot of innovation happening of late, actually, in the fintech industry.
Absolutely.
And, UPI has shown us, how things can like really be taken to the grassroots level.
Exactly.
Yeah. Very quickly to the panelists, there are a few questions out over here. We was just thinking, just take one or two questions maybe. Somebody has written over here, please say about communication and their skill sets and how I want to develop, communication and skill set. Uh, Mr. Krishna Gopal, you would like to say something about that?
See, communication is a very the unstated part of communication is English language. Okay.
Yeah.
The it's yes and no. So large part of my life, I was always very picky about English. Right. Like for example, I tell me something about yourself, and most people start myself, Krishna Gopal, and I would reject him. I've stopped rejecting those people now.
Yeah.
Okay, because I think that and my wife is a professor and was a principal of a college. She has retired. She told me that you can't be having PG Wodehouse and Jeeves in India, right? So you have to let that English overhang come down a bit. So and I found out that people with okay English, they can communicate well. They've done far better if their other human qualities, can do, aggressiveness, entrepreneurship, collaboration is there, right? So coming back to communication, I think English, unfortunately, is also required, especially in the IT industry, right? Where 95% of my business is overseas, right? And overseas means not necessarily Japan, China, and all. There's also Europe, there is also America, where English is there.
Right.
So it has to be taught, right? So I bring people who are not necessarily fantastic in English, but we have courses to teach them, right? So you can use Duolingo, you can use what is that public speaking course which is there, right? What is that called? I forget the name. Toastmasters, right?
Yeah.
You use Toastmasters and get them to become good in English, right? So you make them write, etc. The other part of communication is also speaking and listening, right? To 1/3, 2/3, right? 2/3 listening, 1/3 speaking. There are also other parts of communication, that what is rambling, what is being to the point, what does it involve in making notes, right? When you are most of these MBAs come and directly work with a CXO, right? And then they want to tell a story and then land, aha. No, tell the score. 4-3, you lost the game. Then you can dribble later, right? So those kinds of things of communications, pointed sharpness, etc. Those are aspects that can be taught. And it's not just about English.
Right.
I'll pause there.
So thank you. I mean, we have like kind of surpassed the stipulated time. We are already over by about 10 15 10 minutes. Very quickly, I would like the panel to sum up, give a concluding line. Each of you, if you can just go, we would start with Major Pinto. Just to conclude, what is your idea of kind of jobs, talent, technology in India?
Okay. So I would say it is, jobs are endless. For talent, I would say be at the right place at the right time, and you'll be there. You'll be in with the right skill set and the right attitude. Technology, like I said, will never and cannot replace you. It can just facilitate to make you better at what you are doing.
Great. Good. Thank you. Professor Priyanka Sharma, in terms of talent, people going out there in the job market for them. I think you're on mute.
Yeah, so sorry. So Am I audible now?
Yes, yes, yes.
Okay, great. So I always take this 4-point mantra in the whenever I have to speak to the students, and that is something which I would like to say to the audience today also. At the first point, which I would like to put is focus on your soft skills. So, and that is also essentially which what came out in today's discussion. So, recognize the importance of soft skills, which is communication, leadership, adaptability, and problem solving. This is extremely, extremely important to be nurtured, to be imbibed by the students. Second thing is you partner with industry experts, industry leaders, you listen to their talks, attend to their lectures, classroom sessions, whenever they come, and learn and interact with them. Third thing, very important, is networking amongst themselves and with their seniors. So at IIM Lucknow, we are very proud to have that legacy where seniors nurture their juniors as well. And at the fourth level, I would put integration with technology. So be upbeat with what is machine learning, blockchain, AI, data analytics. It will only help you to put it a stronger position. So
Right.
soft skills, your networking, industry collaboration, and technology integration. These are the 4 important pillars that I would like to sum up.
Right. Thank you, Professor Sharma. Sucharita, as a recruiter, what is your message to the prospective job hunters or job seekers?
Yeah, so thank you, Arindam. I was just going through a couple of questions also, and I've answered them
Yes,
also.
I noticed you were answering them also.
Yeah. So one is that AI will definitely not replace you. So you must actually like learn these skill set, sharpen your skill set, but don't get scared. You need to know how to use AI. Everywhere AI will not get implemented also. So that is one of the biggest message which I want to give to each one of you. The second part is humility is a big important competency which all of you need to have, because if you're not open, then you will not change, and then you will stop learning. So humility is the second biggest competency which I would urge each one of you to have. And the third thing is deep diving, dirty your hands, because nothing comes in free. Anything comes in free of cost, I think that's not valued. So dirty your hands as much as possible in the beginning of your career, and you will see like magic in later the second half of your career. So that's my message to all the job seekers.
Great. Thank you, Sucharita. Mr. Krishna Gopal, as a mentor.
Yes. So if you are going to make the screen large and show me, so what's here is Padi hai with KG, right? Padi hai is an English, is a Hindi phrase that says, Padi hai means obviously in English matters to me, right?
Right.
So if it matters to you, you will do it, right? How do you imbibe that? So by being a good human being. So my message is focus on being a good human being, focus on essential skills like, like she said, humility, collaboration, can do, empathy, and all of that. Try to build those skills. And like what Priyanka said, her college offers so many avenues for all of that, right?
Right.
Defocus on academics to the extent that do whatever is required only to pass, but focus on the other areas so that you hopefully start to become a better human being in those 2 years, right? And on AI and all that, I think as people are saying, you will not lose your job. We are still not in the area of the Matrix movie or the Terminator, right? That's still a long way off. So the natural intelligence is still required to harness artificial intelligence to make our jobs easier and better. And finally, I would request that people to build the following, right? Algorithmic thinking, problem solving, collaboration, communication, business understanding, process understanding, because all of this will then become very, very useful when you're having the conversation beyond tell me something about yourself.
Right. Thank you so much. Thank you. It was really an enriching, enlightening, and a very deep diving session over here. We have had a lot of thoughts, a lot of exchanges. Thank you so much. I'm sure our viewers would have gained a lot from what we have just discussed over here. a lot more about human skills, a lot less about AI. And that's the sanity that will going to stay with us. Thank you so much. Uh, we will get some of our viewers probably to write in, and maybe we will come back to you on, with some of the feedback and answers, whatever questions and all. Thank you. And as we say that, we'll meet again, and we will come back for another equally enriching session. Thank you.
I thought you'd say like Amitabh Bachchan, good night, Shabba Khair. See you then. Bye-bye.
Thank you, Arindam, and thank you, everyone. It was
Nice
lovely
meeting all of
meeting
you.
Good night, everyone.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.